two are so clingy. Take a hint already. Who's on my super secret personal frequency? What? Who is this? This imposter? Do you not recognize your own face? I've come from the future to warn you. If you try to turn Crash Bandicoot into the general of your army, you will fail. The machine rejects fraud. Fiend! Embryo! Alert the guards! Why won't I listen to me?
Hello guys, and welcome back to the last and final part of Crash 4 It's About Time. I will level with you right from the start. This audio is not recorded at the same time as the gameplay footage. So I did originally intend to record the audio at the same time as the footage. But the last 3 levels of the game, the ones that take place on Cortex's island, tested everything that I have, just core strength, just willpower, skill, anything you can possibly think of was tested by these 3 levels, which sounds like a bit of an exaggeration, and probably is, but I spent way longer than anyone should have to spend to not 100% a level. Like, it took a stupidly long amount of time. Surprisingly, the level that I thought would be the most of a problem for me still posed a challenge, but actually wasn't as bad as it was the first time that I ran through it when I did it in the playthrough that I did with my dad. The level that posed me the most issue is the second level, Toxic Tunnels, which is partly down to just the sheer, I don't know, just utter lack of skill that I possess, and also down to the coloured gem path, which you will see. It's like the 4 sort of coloured gem path. That took so much time. That basically it kind of transpired quite early on that recording audio in conjunction with doing the gameplay was not going to go well for these 3 levels. Potentially the first one. This what I'm doing now, nitro processing, was not that bad, as you will see. So basically what I've decided to do for these 3 levels is I've gone through and I've mostly cut down all of the deaths. So it's it kind of flows through better in one sort of playthrough, as opposed to kind of being choppy and stop-starty from where, like, all the times that I died. And if I'd left in all the deaths, especially in Toxic Tunnels, you would have just needed to set a day aside to just watch the entire video. Like, I think the gem path itself took me about 45 minutes, which is just stupid for like one section of one level. I think, as you can see here, I at this point had just kind of given up on getting all of the boxes. It was just kind of like, let's just make our way through as easily as we can. We're not going for 100%, because let's face it, at this point we already know we haven't got it. So let's just go through with as least resistance as we can. So I get the boxes that are kind of easily accessible to me, and I just kind of ignore everything else, which is not the most honourable of victories and does not demonstrate the most amount of skill, but we made it to the end, and that's all that I care about right now. Like, it was genuinely pushing me to the limits of sanity. And I just kind of thought, realistically, it is a video game and they are supposed to test you, but at the same time, they're supposed to be fun. So like, I'm over here like stressing and driving myself crazy trying to get all the boxes and get like 100% perfect run, and I just thought like, why? Like, it's supposed to be fun. So I just decided that I would make it as fun as possible. So I endeavoured to do that, as I will explain later on, and sort of as I'm going through what I'm doing at the time, to kind of give you some perspective as to what I was doing to try and calm my ever-decreasing mental state as I was recording this. But for the most part, this level was fine. It was just kind of easing into the turmoil that you're about to face. It was kind of like, you know, posed a level of difficulty, but at the same time, not making you tear your hair out and question all of your life decisions. So, on the whole, not too bad. Genuinely not sure what the flubber-like things are supposed to be. A flubber with legs. I don't know if I make too many like sort of 90s early noughties references. I don't know whether any of you are going to get them, but that's kind of what they remind me of, like octopus flubber. The electric cricket things, especially, so in here a little bit, but especially in Toxic Tunnels, I think he glitched out there because he was supposed to go through the like cycle of sort of sparking on and off, and he just didn't. Like this one there, where he kind of electrifies it up and then stops. I was waiting for that to happen with the last one, and he just didn't do anything. He just sat there. So yeah, those enemies are some of the most irritating that I have faced in pretty much the entire franchise. I think it's the length of the attack and just the sheer number of them just means that sometimes it's really hard to time your jumps in terms of where they're placed. Also, the rats with the shields are, for the most part, okay, but sometimes they will lift the shield as you jump over, and then you end up like being spiked from below, or they'll just jump on your head, or just be a general nuisance in some way or form. But for the most part, they're not too bad. But the crickets, no, not a fan. I think we can look on the bonus level here. So the bonus level in this one was fairly short. Yeah, it was fairly short. I was like, I'm sure I remember it being quite short. It was fairly short. I think I had to go through a couple times just to figure out exactly what it was I was supposed to be doing. And just kind of getting the timing down, but it didn't sort of prove to be too much of a challenge as some of the others. Obviously, as I said, that I cut it down, so it's just kind of, for the most part, one linear take. I've kept in some deaths, partly because I'm trying to keep in the, like, if there's in-game audio, so if Cortex is talking to himself, I tried to keep that in, or if it's just kind of like a quick death, so that, like that one that you just saw, I kind of pass the checkpoint, die, and I don't have to recoup too much progress. I will keep the death in, but what I tried to do is when I reset at the checkpoint, I've kept it so that when I edited it, you can see the death count from what it would have gone down to what it is on the take where I finally get it, so that you can see how many times I died in a particular section. Whether or not that's of any interest to any of you, I don't know, but I thought it would be quite nice to keep it in, so you could kind of get a feel of how many times each section took me, and so you didn't think that I was sort of breezing through with no issues. Because let's face it, no one would believe that after some of the performances that you've seen on other levels that come to the like hardest 3 levels in the game, and all of a sudden I'm just there like, yeah, I'm so skillful now, look at me, just breeze through. So yeah, 13 deaths this one took. Wasn't too bad. I want to say that some of the other levels have potentially proved to be more of a problem than nitro processing. I'm trying to think. So definitely the end of Crate Escape was... I think it just took more deaths because there was a particular bit with the jumping rather than it being like hard per se, but also the whole of Crate Escape, just the Cortex level in general, I would say was probably harder, at least for me, than nitro processing. But this level... I mean, I've got to give it to the developers of this level, because if their intent was to create a level that just tortures you to the extent that you just want to curl up in the fetal position, then they succeeded, because this level is just mean. Like, it's well put together. Like, I mean, you know, I was talking about being stomped on by rats. There you go. Yeah, it's just me. Like, a lot of the things where you have to kind of time your jumps to like the perfect second or you die. It's quite a long level as well. Not as long as oh gosh, what's the name of the level? Rush Hour? Is it Rush Hour? I think it might be Rush Hour. The one where you play as Dingodile and Torna. I think it's Rush Hour. That one is definitely one of, if not the longest level in the game. I think. But this level's got to be up there. Especially when you're doing the, like, the 4-color gem path. Because that is just... I mean, there are no words. There are 0 words to describe that experience. I will level with you now when I say that I've played through obviously all the original Crash games, but I have never gotten all the colored gems, so I've never done a full colored gem route before. I know there is one, and I'm pretty sure that it probably also does not contain a checkpoint throughout the whole thing. But having never done one, I have not experienced such hell before. It's so beautiful. So it unlocks and you think like, this is amazing. You know, look how pretty it looks. It will unlock for me just great wonders because I've been so skillful and clever to be able to get all of the 4 colored gems. No, not that at all. Just more torment. If anything, you'd be better off not getting the 4 color gems so that you had no option to be able to come here and live this out. But essentially you sort of do a section of the kind of route, and then it will take you onto another color gem to another section of the route, and so on until you get to the end, and then you get the hidden gem for this level. That bit there where I sort of slide under and get electrocuted happened more than once, and by more than once I mean probably like 10 times. You kind of have to get right on the very edge, so that you're like teetering on the edge of that platform, almost falling off the edge into the slime, and then do a slide jump to get up. Because if you kind of slide and try and jump, you won't make it. If you obviously get up too early, you get electrocuted. So you literally have to kind of crawl under until you're like right on the edge. Then get up and then slide jump. Just because, you know, I just wanted to add in just that extra level of difficulty into an already difficult game. Yeah, like right there. You're like teetering on the edge and then you jump. I mean, it's one of the only sort of hidden gems that I've managed to get in quite a few levels. It wasn't so much hidden as just an absolute nightmare to get. But I don't know, I felt like with this one, like I could have just given up and just left it. But I felt like we'd gone to all the trouble of getting all of the coloured gems that we kind of had to see it through. So I endured for you guys so you could see the coloured gem pack. As you can see, I just have no regard for boxes at this point. It's just trying to get through from beginning to end, as I said before, but there are some that are like quite easily obtainable, but I just completely ignore. I think it's because at this point I had died a terrific amount of times, and I just wanted to get through. I just wanted to be done with it. I think I attempt to go for those boxes. I don't think I made the jump. I think I'm going to die, and I give up. I don't even bother going for a second attempt. But what I will say is this run through that you're seeing here didn't actually happen at the same time as the first part of the level. So the first part of the level, when I ran through toxic tunnels for the first time, I gave up on the coloured gem route. I died probably 25-30 times and then was just like, nope, I'm done. I'm not gonna do this. I give up. I surrender. I'm done. So I just bypassed that, went through the rest of the level, and then sort of finished. I ate some food, I took a break, I was like, right, I should give this a go again. So what I've done is I kind of compiled in the beginning from my original playthrough and then the coloured gem route from the second playthrough. But the coloured gem path also contains the rest of the run that I did for that level. Because I also quit out on the bonus level too. The bonus level was actually really tricky in this level, as if everything else just wasn't tricky enough. The bonus level was also just like sort of in regard to kind of the puzzle solving aspect almost of it, where you have to figure out where to jump and like land and sort of leave yourself room to come back and what to do and sort of how and when. So I quit hugely on both of those. I still to this day don't know why I left those two boxes there. Like, I was jumping on them, I could quite easily have just continued to jump on them and got them, but apparently I was just done with with playing this level at that point, so I ignored them and I moved on. But the bonus level. The bonus level was recorded. This whole playthrough that you're seeing now is the same playthrough that I did with the colour gem route, but it's a different playthrough to the one that you saw at the beginning. So when we get to the end, I will point out that obviously the amount of deaths is correct to this second playthrough, not the first one. Some of the wall runs for the most part were not an issue, but I kept jumping off too far there and flying straight into the electric cricket. Which is why they have become one of my least favourite enemies of all time. Solely for that reason. Solely for that segment, this level. This is why no one likes you, Electric Cricket. I'm sorry. But you have not garnered a good name for yourself. Oh, this section too. The box that's in the middle. I kept jumping and then either landing into the electric thing or bouncing off and landing in the toxic slime. Like, whatever was happening just was not going well for me. So yeah, bonus level is here. I cut it together like I did with the nitro processing, so that it's just the completed take as opposed to lots of sort of failed attempts. I don't know if there's a better way that you're supposed to do this, or if this is the way that you're supposed to do this. Excuse me. But yeah, it's the way that I found that worked, and at this point, if it worked, it was how I was going to do it. I mean, obviously there were some boxes that I wasn't able to get that maybe I could get if I'd have done it differently. Like some of the actual boxes, or like the life box maybe here if I'd have slid underneath, but then I thought if I slide underneath and then I get exploded by the TNT, I'm gonna have to do it again. I think I'd already done it like 6-7 times at this point, which isn't a lot, and I know a lot of the other bonus levels have taken me far longer, but at this point I'd already been playing this one level for probably around, all in all, considering the first playthrough and the second one, and the fact that the colour gem path took me like 45 minutes, probably like an hour and a half, which is just stupid, really. I mean, the level is hard, but like, I mean, a lot of that is probably just completely down to the fact that I possess zero skill, apparently. But I do know that amongst sort of the Crash community that it is well considered, well renowned, and sort of considered to be one of the hardest, if not the hardest, levels of the game. Which actually, in my first playthrough, and I don't know why, was not my opinion. My opinion in the first playthrough was that Cortex's castle was 100% the hardest level. Like, that, I died well over 100 times in the original playthrough that I did of Cortex's castle. And I was slightly concerned that coming into this that I would game over from Cortex's castle because I died so many times. But the second run through wasn't actually that bad. It didn't turn out to be as bad as I remember. So maybe it's just kind of a muscle memory thing, and once you've kind of got a grip of the masks and switching around, it gets better, but I don't know. Also, the no duck sign here, I think it's no ducks, made me laugh a little bit when I was playing through this. But I think, I don't know, I mean, you guys can probably comment on it better than I can, but maybe as you sort of start to play through and you get to grips with the game and you sort of start from the beginning to the end, your sort of ability to be able to deal with the challenges that it poses increases. So obviously they increase the difficulty, but then you can kind of deal with things better. For some reason this box didn't smash, like, for quite a while. Like, I stand there and spin it for ages and it just doesn't want to smash. Like, I don't know what happened there. I don't know whether it was kind of like a depth of field thing and I thought that I was standing and spinning it, but I wasn't. I'm not sure, but I just remember being like, why is this not breaking? So now we're going from the toxic, sewery, sludgy level into just lava. Just full on, like... Yep. That happened a lot. The bouncing off of the first box on that platform and then bouncing into the lava. More so on the original playthrough. Also, that flashback tape at the end there. No chance. That is never gonna happen. Even if I played through this game like 40 times and managed to like more or less get it perfect, there is no way I would make it from beginning to there without dying at least once. Just not a chance. So yeah, more of those sort of rat things here with the cogs. I thought I'd been quite sly and skillful there by leaping up and missing off some of the things. Little shortcut. If you guys are struggling there, just miss out half the level. So we made it, I was going to say relatively unscathed, but my declining sanity may disagree with that. So I also included my original playthrough ending, which is 38 deaths. So just for full transparency of, I mean, I think it was still like 26 that was in the second playthrough, but the first one took a lot longer and a lot more deaths. So I thought I'd include both so you guys could see how many times I died in total. Just far too many. And here we are in Cortex's castle. Final level of the game, apart from obviously the Cortex boss itself. The Cortex boss battle itself, sorry. I mean, technically this is still the final level because the boss battle isn't a level technically. So this is the sort of last level where you sort of play through, and I, as I have mentioned, just was dreading this specific level when I decided to play through this game. Because of when you get to the end of the level, there's an element where you have to switch between quantum masks quite quickly, and I died so many times in that one spot that I can't even explain to you. Like, it was just stupid. It took me like nearly 2 hours, I think, when I first played this through to do this level. But when I was kind of going through, I sort of realized that you can stand on the lasers. I say I kind of realized, I am pretty sure that it was in that Devs React video that I told you about, of how they made it through here, that you can stand on like the laser points. So I kind of utilized that in quite a few points to get through stages that I may have died in otherwise. So if you guys are struggling with this section, I guess that does kind of help you cheat a little bit. Oh, and sometimes with those jumps you can jump slide them, so if it looks like you're not going to make it, you can make it with a jump slide. I thought that I was safe here, but I got too close to the bouncy spinny disc thing and shish kebabbed myself. I like that in his, I mean, this is his castle, so this is essentially his house. He's just got piles of slime, he's just got like flying discs of doom just everywhere. Like, it's not, I mean, he's an evil villain, so it's not really going to be visitor friendly, but like, you know, he seems a little bit like offended when we call him a bad guy in one of the other episodes, and here, like, he's literally saying like, never visit me, I will not make you tea, instead I will watch as you perish. Like, I mean, his carpet's worn out, he could do with some new one. Like, right there, he could do with some new carpet. So onto the bonus level of Cortex's castle. This one is potentially one of the hardest bonus levels. Yeah, apart from in terms of difficulty rating, okay, so I would say this one Toxic Tunnels and Food Run, I think, are 3 of the hardest that I've done so far. Definitely. Again, I'm not sure if I took the right path here or whether you were supposed to do things differently. But this was the only way that I found to the end. I'd also like to say that I'd like to pretend that I didn't notice that those 2 boxes were there and sort of be like, oh my gosh, you guys, like, I'm so sorry. I thought I'd completed the level, but I missed 2 boxes. But I knew the whole time. Like, I saw that they were there. I just didn't care at this point. I'm sorry. Yeah. I mean, I was almost done. You could see that, but I tried to get those boxes a couple times, and every time for some reason I die. I couldn't make the jump between those 2 boxes and the ending after I jumped back, which means I was probably supposed to do something different, but my sort of addled brain just could not compute what you were supposed to do, so I left them and moved on. But in terms of what I was talking about, I love that there's a little like sort of rat or a mice just on those like steps up there. I've just noticed that. Oh, and the ends, on the fence. I've just noticed that too. And the stained glass window of Cortex. Art design again, really, really good. Probably didn't notice this the first time because I was too busy trying not to die. But now I can appreciate it. Yeah, so the things that I was trying to do to help my rapidly decreasing sanity was I decided to play music while I was playing through this. So I started just playing random sort of Spotify playlists that I had. Which is part of the reason that I decided to mute the mic audio, because otherwise you guys would have just heard me just randomly singing at different points throughout this level. I'm pretty sure at this point I was belting out some kind of Disney song. I was probably like asking Cortex if he wanted to build a snowman. So it would have been an interesting viewing, I'm sure, but I decided to mute that and just record the audio afterwards, so I could kind of explain to you guys what had happened anyway in terms of the compilation, and meant that I could sing along to Disney at the top of my lungs at the same time, and only the neighbours would have to be bothered by that. Yeah, it did help, in fairness. So like it did help to ease the frustration some. Just kind of chilling and singing along to Disney. So maybe that helped. I don't know. You know, like how they say that people's memory can increase if they listen to classical music, or like concentration is supposed to be good with certain types of music. Again, probably classical music. Maybe your gameplay skill also improves when you listen to music. Who knows? Could be true. Maybe there's some science in it. I don't know. It's not something I've done an experiment on yet, but maybe time will tell, and I'll do an experiment as to whether or not music improves video game skills. I doubt it, but you know, you never know. It could be a study that maybe like maybe Nintendo or Sony wants to know. I don't know. But more of these glorious spinning discs of death that we just got to avoid, and fun with Ika Ika. So yeah, we're done and we're on our way through. On the home stretch of this level, not too much of it left.
Quit struggling! Don't make me!
Just letting you listen to that.
Anyone! We have an evil doppelganger situation. I'm not a doppelganger. I'm... No.
Just letting you listen to the
There. That'll
in-game
shut me
audio.
up.
Yeah, there's not that much left of the level left in terms of physical gameplay. It's just some of the hardest gameplay sections, apart from toxic tunnels, in the entire game. Just because obviously, as you can see here, you get one mask, and then while you're in the air you have to get another mask, and then sort of like here you have to kind of drop and get Ika, and kind of, yeah, it's, I think without the mask there I'd probably have died. I mean, I would have died. But yeah, like this segment, as you can see, you kind of have to time everything so that you can get each mask and not die like that. I remember this section took me a lot longer in the original playthrough for sure, but I think once you've kind of figured out what you need to do, it makes it a lot easier. But here I cheat somewhat and bypass using a Kano at all by just hitching a ride on the laser beam. So that is a slight cheat if you're really struggling with that section. But this section is for sure one of the hardest. Again, slide cheat. It's something that I just did when I was playing through the first time because I couldn't time it properly, like I did that. But if you are, I think it's quite a well-renowned cheat of this part here. I think they did it in the speedrunner run-through as well. You just accu through the lasers. Like, it's not the most elegant or skillful way of doing it, but it's quicker, and I meant I didn't die and I made it to the end. So, I mean, cheats aside, we only missed 15 boxes, so I don't think we did too badly, and we didn't die that many times. So, I mean, it's definitely less than 115, and we didn't game over, so there's that.
Do you have any idea how stubborn I used to be? Yes. I need to stop him from making you. But I can't kill him because that would kill me. So I guess that means I'll have to kill you. Yoink.
Okay, so this rationale here from Cortex has me a little bit confused. So
Jump on the
he's basically saying that he wants to kill Crash now to stop Crash becoming a nuisance to him, so that it will never be made general of Cortex's army, and they will never go through their never-ending cycle of sort of fighting and him losing. But surely to accomplish that he will need to kill Crash from this timeline, not us, Crash from the future. Because surely killing Crash from the future would accomplish nothing, because Cortex from the past would still go ahead and make Crash from the past, who is still there. So, in theory, him killing us, even if he were successful here, would accomplish nothing. The only thing that I can think of in terms of his rationale is that he wants to kill the future us, so that when he goes to kill the past us, he has no resistance. But realistically, it doesn't make sense how he kind of phrased it there in terms of, I can't kill him, so I have to kill you. Well, yeah, but not me, like past me. But then future me is more ready to fight you, so I guess in terms of keeping us alive, it works, but in terms of rationale, from Cortex, from the timeline perspective, it confuses me slightly. The next point that I have to make here is in terms of difficulty, I never really found this to be too much of a problem. I think I was glad at this point that it wasn't too much of a problem, but it was a little bit underwhelming as a final boss battle, considering the
I can smell your fleas boiling.
First Neo Cortex battle took me a lot longer and a lot more deaths than this one did. I'm pretty sure that in the first one I did it fairly well here, but in the first playthrough the engine boss battle actually took me a lot more deaths than this one did. And the Entropy boss battle, again, wasn't too bad in this playthrough. Again, I think it's just down to muscle memory, and once you know what you're supposed to do in certain places, it does just make it a lot easier. But even in the first playthrough, this boss battle didn't take me too many deaths. So I think I leave in all of my deaths here, for sort of, because there weren't that many, and I just thought that if I kind of leave them in, it will show you guys exactly what happened. And the reason that I was hitting them down before was because it was like too many. Like it was a lot. It was the sort of same section over and over and over again, and would have just got so tediously boring that it was like no one's gonna ever want to watch this. So I was like, I need to cut it down. So I cut down obviously the earlier sections, but here I was like, there aren't that many deaths, so I was like, may as well just leave them in. Embrace my failures, as I said in the last part. I do like, however, about this boss battle, how, like with Cortex's castle, how we utilise all the masks. In the boss battle, he utilises all of the masks. I do think it is sort of fun mechanically that you get to, I was going to say fight against the masks, but they're kind of being used against their will, so it's not really the mask's fault. But essentially that is kind of what you're doing. The section that seemed to cost me the most lives in like every time that I've played this is this section here with kapuna-wa. I am not entirely sure why, but basically as I've been sort of trying to make my way through, I kept finding that I was mistiming the jumps, and it definitely cost me the most amount of lives. Not that any of the sections particularly cost me a lot of lives, but that was the one that cost me the most amount of lives, and sort of posed the most challenge, I would hesitantly say. But as I've sort of touched upon briefly, I don't think that anything within this boss battle is particularly challenging as such. It's fun, and it's well done. I don't think any of it is hard per se. I did realise here in the end that it might have been quite hard to have tried to stand on the field, but you can just jump between all of the shoot-o-matics, which kind of means that you can free the field of a lot of the stuff before you even have to step on it, which just makes your life a whole lot easier.
Not like this. No, 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 no. Must have taken a hit to the old temporal lobe. But a fallen foe can only mean one thing. It came to blows, and I won! My new general's first order of business will be to dispose of you. We are closer than ever before. Quickly, into the vortex!
But Dr. Cortex, the vortex is not ready. We have no idea what it could do.
Failure again.
Explains a lot.
You stay. What are you going to do to me?
Looks like somebody needs a little time out. Somewhere he can't cause any trouble.
Enjoy the end of the universe!
Dingo's Diner is back and ready for you. Say good day to delectable dishes inspired by my interdimensional travels. Enjoy the breeze with our innovative three-wall dining room design. Dingo's Diner, health and safety rated D for delicious. Warning, D is a failing sanitation grade and does not stand for delicious.
Peace at last.
Oh, almost there, Good thing. Yes! Victory! Hey, Crash, you're in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Rest in peace, Mal Winkler. You will always be Aku Aku to us.
This game has been a work of fiction. Any similarities to any marsupials, talking masks, dingo-alligator hybrids, or evil science guys with weirdly shaped heads, living or dead, is purely coincidental. You should not have played this game if you suffer from Wumpa allergy, crash rash, fear of alternate dimensions, fear of moving platforms, fear of still platforms, fear of sequels, fear of squishy noises, fear of bouncy noises, fear of super science, fear of collecting things, fear of 90s nostalgia, inability to comprehend time paradoxes, inability to forgive those who have wronged you, inability to pick a restaurant when someone asks you what you're hungry for, inability to remember where you parked, or a delicate tummy. For more information on bandicoots and their diet, habitat, mating habits, birthday wish lists, and shoe sizes, visit your local library or ask your grandma. I don't know if she has any prior experience with bandicoots, but she's very wise, and I'm sure she'd love to hear from you. The makers of this game do not in any way endorse eating at Dingodile's Diner, which has been known to cause trans-dimensional discharge, intestinal rifts, wampa whooping cough, parasitic slime boils, random teleportation into darker timelines, and uncontrollable mewing like a little kitty cat during important business meetings. Any unauthorized exhibition, distribution, or duplication of this game will result in very hurt feelings. And why would you want to hurt our feelings? We've always said really nice things about you. We even said your new haircut looked great, even though it was kind of a weird length for you. Guests of Crash Bandicoot stay at Insane Beach Suites, which is just a log with some moss on it. The moss is really soft, though, so you should be able to get a good night's sleep. What, are you too good to sleep on a log? Sorry, Your Majesty, I suppose you want a continental breakfast instead of a handful of ants that make their nest under the tree. Jeez Louise, there's no pleasing some people. Can you give me a minute? Okay, I'm ready to go again. The events of this game are absolutely 100% canonical. Unless you didn't like them, in that case it was all a dream.
And that's it. We are completely and utterly done with Crash 4 It's About Time. I wanted to be quiet for a little bit there because I think that the credits guy who talks about Crash Rash and the events being canonical, unless you didn't like them, then they were all a dream, was just hysterical. So I wanted you guys to listen to him just in case you hadn't heard him before. That throwaway line at the end about the events being all a dream, if you didn't like them, I think should just be a disclaimer they put at the end of every TV show. So if you didn't like what happened, it was all a dream, and you can just invent your own ending, which is pretty much what I had to do with some TV shows that I won't name, but you guys can probably guess. But I super sped up the credits so that we could still pay homage to all of the brilliant people that were involved in making the game, but that you didn't have to sit and watch, I think, like 10 minutes of credits. But that's why they're kind of glitchy and sort of speeding up, because I sped them up quite a bit. But while they are speeding across your screen, I would just like to take this opportunity to say thank you so much to every single one of you who have subscribed, who have given a video a thumbs up, who have left a comment. I really, really appreciate it, and thank you so much for the support. But that is us done for Crash 4. We have not obviously 100%ed it, but we have completed the storyline. We have, as you will see soon, unlocked the triple spin. And done pretty much all the storyline has to offer. I mean, there's obviously more to do that we could potentially go on and do. If you guys would like to see the flashback tapes we acquired, obviously we can't do all of them because there's no way I'm going to be able to get certain of the flashback tapes, i.e. the one at the end of Toxic Tunnels, because that's just not happening. But if you guys do want to see a compilation video of the ones that I have, pop it in a comment below, and I can potentially do a compilation of the flashback tapes. But the next series that I am planning is going to be the Insane Trilogy, so we're just going to take things right back to the start and do the original trilogy of the Crash games. So that will be coming up very soon on this channel. If you have any other requests of games that you would like to see me play, please leave it in a comment, and we will see what we can do about making that happen. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe to be notified when new videos come out if you're not already, and I will see you in the next one.